Hi everyone, Peter with Rover Vents. Today I want to show you our brand new or version 2 tire carry ladder system. We made some very significant changes, maybe not to the eye, but to the way the system is installed and the way it works. So starting with our ladder tire carry system, super lightweight aluminum piece. You guys have seen them. We made several improvements. I went to Poland to visit with my dad over winter, and 5 weeks when I was there, we actually really wanted to take a step back, look at the system, look at the way it's working on a ProMaster, and see what can we improve. We had a few challenges, but 1, 2, 3 prototypes later, we have a system that we really like. So one change you cannot see, we have a brand new powder coating system with a 10-year UV protection on it. Beautiful finish. We're gonna do some close-ups. Not something I can really, I guess, show you how it's done because it's still a powder coating system, just a much better UV protection. I think we are the only ones on the market that have that kind of UV protection. That's that. The second biggest change is the mounting system. So here and here are the two key pieces to the new system. We are going to omit cutting the rubber weather stripping, and we're going to omit the third bracket in the middle that oftentimes causes a little misalignment to the door and just doesn't look professional. So, ProMaster. What's the biggest pain point, I guess, on this system when designing anything to attach? Unfortunately, these doors are super thin. There's not a lot of meat on them. Anyone in the industry knows that, you know, a Sprinter has the beefiest door, Transit is better, but the ProMaster, these doors they're not very beefy, right? So originally when we tried a drill through method, this just doesn't have enough meat in there, and we didn't like how it worked. We noticed that everyone kind of like relied on that striker plate and going under it, so we did that in the beginning, but the new method is a lot better. And not only are we only moving forward with the drill through method, it's just too many benefits not to do that. We're also going to create a conversion kit for our old system so that you can do the same thing and go back. So those of you that bought our old system and have the mounting underneath the striker, you're gonna be able to get your hands on a new system pretty soon without changing everything. Okay? So let's get to work. First thing, you're gonna find one of these guys. So that's a sticker. This will allow you to know where you need to drill on the side of the door. All right, so follow me. Your reinforcement for the striker, the sticker will go right evenly in here, okay? So we're gonna peel back. And this will of course come off later. Number one. Number two, we're gonna remove the plastic covering using one of these guys. Okay, once this is off, we're actually gonna pause and think about one thing. These doors do not come aligned from the factory perfectly every time. In fact, I've seen them misaligned in the beginning more than aligned properly. I can tell from the vibration in here that we could definitely improve the situation by moving this guy up a little bit. But what I will do first is I'm gonna get our brackets installed underneath the hinges, and then we're gonna do the adjustments, okay? So just like before, we're going to remove this guy first and this guy second. Make sure you have a helping hand when you do this one. Okay, once we have this done, we're going to basically get this guy out of the way. Zach is going to hold the door. And note, we are providing brand new screws, and I'll go over why in a little bit, but you guys will change them. So one of the key things you want to do is you want to get as much in as you can by hand. The ProMaster threads are super soft and they're very easy to damage even with a hand tool. But once you've got a little bit, very easy, because you want to keep thinking, you don't want to damage that thread. It's very easy to damage the thread on the ProMaster. Very lightly. I would actually recommend using a smaller tool than this one if you have, or just keep your hand up. Remember, you're not going more than 20 to 25 pounds of pressure. Okay, so this is on. I'm gonna do the first test of opening and closing. Unaffected, opens and closes the same way. We got bracket number 1 done. We're gonna do the exact same thing with bracket number 2. Okay, we got all of them off. We're gonna move the hinge back just a tiny bit. Okay. Okay, looks pretty good. Notice I'm gonna do just the 2 of them with the new bolts. And even though in your package you may have 3 of them, we're actually recommending that last one that you go back to the original one. Okay, so we have our brackets installed, our hinge brackets. Time to actually make a couple of holes in the van, okay? We're gonna install the inner reinforcement bracket, which is kind of key to this whole system. It is gonna be such a better system and the whole door will be stronger because of it. But yes, we're gonna make 3 holes in the van. So starting with the upper hole. Okay, onto the lower one. Okay, got our 2 holes. If you want, you can probably peel that sticker off. When this is done, notice that there'll be a little bit metal abrasion around. Any deburring tool, you can pick those up at Home Depot, and we're gonna have that in the instruction manual. Rust treatment. We'll recommend the brand. I actually don't even know which one we use anymore at the shop. Cool. I think this has about a 15-minute cure time. Again, I'll check and we'll make sure to post in the instructions and the comments which brand we like. Cool. So reinforcement bracket, okay? The goal is for this bracket to line up with these 2 holes inside of the door, right? Now, the way it's a little bit tricky to do it, and I'm gonna use this paper. The reason I wanna use it is just to not make any scratches or dents with the bracket, especially if we're doing it for the first time. The way this bracket will go in, and I'm actually going to use a little bit protection from scratching it in a little bit, but you're gonna wanna hold it in 2 hands. It's going to go underneath here, and then using this part of the door, we're gonna kinda squeeze it in there, okay? So what I will do is put this, just a piece of towel on here, okay? Into the position, right? Well, okay, it was actually quite a bit easier. Notice they line up perfectly. We will wait a little bit until these guys are dry. So while this guy is sitting in there, it should sit nice and tight. We're going to install the ladder on the exterior in order to mark where we need to drill on the other side, okay? Okay, so now that we've got this guy up using a friend, this is probably the last time you need a friend. Actually, it's gonna go back up. But anyway, we're gonna tighten these guys up. I recommend this kind of tool. Wish I knew the name for it in English, but I don't. Number 13. One thing I forgot to do when I recommend doing that actually is putting blue tape over here just to protect that metal while we're installing the unit. Okay, so I'm almost there. Okay, because we do have to remove the unit again in order to drill, I'm only going to tighten up the bottom ones. And again, I'm doing it to where we can move the unit up and down. And I'm going to position it in about middle. You will get one of these aluminum brackets and a rubber gasket that goes underneath. The one that will actually come in the kit will have a hole already in it. This one does not. So in order to just kind of mark up where we need to drill, I'm going to do it without the bracket, without the gasket. So let's see. You already have a hole in here. We're gonna put this guy line up so that the hole is showing. Okay, your goal is to put that hole right in the middle and have this guy be lined up exactly with it, okay? Once you have that, we can do two things. I'm going to mark it with my marker. And you can also use blue tape. This is just painter's tape to hold this guy in place. What I'm gonna do now is take my marker. Again, double check. You guys might want to use a flashlight just in case. Double check that we're right in the middle there. Okay. So now it's time to remove this, remove the ladder again. Now that we know exactly where this is going, right? I have it taped up. I have it marked with a marker just in case the tape doesn't hold. We're gonna remove this guy. Okay, so now it's a pretty good time to go ahead and install the tire mounting support units, which are these two guys here. Fairly easy. Again, we're gonna provide in the instructions all the sizing, so I don't wanna get the incorrect one, and everything was kind of ready for us here. Notice there's some oil on there that's done on purpose. It's anti-corrosive stuff that we put in. Obviously, the bolts are not aluminum, so this is done on purpose. Now, in the past, we would have installed the screw from behind, but we changed the design on the new one, so you can now do it from the front, which is why we don't have to do it at this time. We can do it when we have it on the vehicle, which is a ton easier than before, okay? So we've got our piece here. One thing you can kind of double check if it's even. Ours is definitely even. So I'm going to mark where I want to drill my hole. And because the system on the interior of the door is not pre-drilled, that's done on purpose so that if you're off a little bit up or down or even to the side, it's completely fine. So I'm actually going to make a pilot hole first. So we're going to use a much smaller drill bit. All right. Okay, so I matched the drill bit with the hardware that we're going to use. The goal is for your hole to be just big enough. Again, in the instructions, we're going to have all the sizes on there. So for this next part, we're going to need two wrenches, 2 number 13s. One will kind of like hold, we can use just to hold in on the inside, and this one, righty-tighty, right? Cool. Okay. So the most important part, I guess the main change is done. Okay, look how pretty that looks. I'm so excited, like actually about the system. So main thing, we're not messing with the gasket anymore, with the rubber weather sealing gasket. We're not moving the striker plate, and we have reinforced the door, which makes a strong, a stronger system. So now when you close the door and you've got, whatever 70, 80, 90 pound tire on it, when you close the door, there's a reinforcement on the inside of the door that's kind of taken most of that force, right? Let's see how this. Okay, first time I'm opening and closing. Honestly, this door right now is closing better than stock. And the reason for that is because this is now kind of connected all together, right? So you've got this big reinforcement bracket. I mean, this door feels a lot more solid than it did prior to our installation. So not only are you getting your spare tire on the back of it, you're actually strengthening your door, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, at this point I'm gonna hand tighten. Next we're gonna get the tire from underneath the van, put it on, and figure out exactly how high we want this guy on. Once this is tightened in place, which I'm not gonna do because we know we're gonna put a different set of wheels and tires on here, right? But for the demo, we're gonna get the wheel back on. Cool. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so next part, cone. This guy's gonna go right in the middle. Notice it's gonna go in the middle of the big hole in the wheel. And we do offer these in several sizes, just in case you go aftermarket and need something a little bit different. So little improvements that we did too is we now powder coat the big bolt here too, even though it was already stainless steel, just to kind of have that black look, which that means for the first time when you put this guy on, it's gonna be a little harder. Cool. All right, there you have it. Maybe one more spin. Boom. Now, we provide this a little bit longer because, again, for different reasons. A, you may want to attach something to that in the future. B, you might have a different offset or different size tire. So once this is on, what we recommend is actually cutting it even here and then painting it. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Peter from Rover Vans. Again, first time installing one of these, went pretty smooth in my opinion. I love the new design. I'm really, really happy with the drill through design. If you have any questions, you want to talk to me on the phone about this, you want to email me about this, go ahead. This is the way that we're going to build these from now on, and I think it's way better than the non-drill option we've offered before. Again, yeah, kind of has a closer. Super sturdy unit. Really, really happy now.